from the Crypt.
Welcome, Crypt fans, to the Cryptique Podcast. My name's Kenny, and I'm here with my good friend Godden. And together, we're here to watch and review every horrific, often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. Here we are, Godden, Season 4, Episode 4.
Season 4.
Seance, which aired July 4th, 1992. If only this came out in 1994, we could have had a Season 4, Episode 4 in 94. Gosh darn it. Oh, well. Oh, well. We'll settle with Season 4, Episode 4, July 4th of 1992. Hey, July 4th? What did I wonder how this episode was received, because people must have been out on July 4th doing something else. I'm sure of it. They probably weren't at home watching Tales from the Crypt.
I think it's actually kind of funny it came out July 4th because, it happens in 1901 LA, very American, like noir. So everything's just American about it too. There's guns, I think, and then there's money, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
well,
it is.
I mean, there's no fireworks, but
oh, there might be fireworks in the lovemaking area. Maybe a little bit of a love fling going on. So one more thing about this episode, it did come to us from the Vault of Horror. So this is a Vault of Horror episode. And before Godden and I get into this episode, got to let you know we are not experts. We just watch the episode and then come on here to blab about it. So you're welcome to hear us go on and blab about it. We invite you to join the discussion. So yeah, hit up those comments down below. Let us know what you think of this episode or other episodes or whatever the heck you want down there. That's your territory, okay? There's going to be some spoilers as well. So if you don't want to be spoiled, make sure you watch the episode first before you come on back here to hear us spoil it for you. Yeah. Some people like to have things spoiled before they watch it. Some people just can't stand the anticipation, and they want to have things spoiled. They want to read the plot, they want to read the punchline, and then they want to go watch the movie. Are you one of those people, Godden?
I don't know. I don't really partake in that as much. I just want to always experience as much as I can, and for my own opinions, and see if anyone else has any issues with it.
Yeah, it depends on how much I like what I'm watching. If I don't really care, then I don't care, right? If it's just something I'm watching to pass the time, then I don't mind knowing what the punchline is or the twist, just to kind of see it coming. But if it's something I'm really looking forward to, I'll actually avoid trailers and avoid any sort of plot synopses because I don't want to have it spoiled. Speaking of plot synopses, Godden,
bound in flesh.
I have the ancient texts about this episode, inked in human blood, bound in human flesh, on the back of the DVD box set here. Seance. Honey, is that you? Flim Flammers aim to bilk millions from a widow by pulling off a spooktacular seance. It's kind of funny. I like Flim Flam. I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Oh, Flim Flam?
Flim Flammers. Here's what I came up with. Alison and Benny are a couple of con artists attempting to dupe a wealthy businessman out of $300,000 cash. But when he grows suspicious of their scheme, he backs out, leaving them moneyless and hopeless. Desperate, the two miscreants turn to the supernatural to get what they want. But are they playing with powers beyond their control? Dun dun dun!
Who knows?
I hope that didn't give too much away, Godden.
I don't think it did. I liked it, It's just always on the nose.
Okay,
you always try to hit act 1, 2, and 3.
All right. So yeah, the DVD box set is too short for me, so I have to make it more verbose. I have to take it there. I have to take it up to the next level. Okay. Godden, on the other hand, thinks the description on the back is too long. Godden, what is shorter than the back of the DVD box?
I was thinking about it, and I think I know what I'm going to call it when I watch this. I'd say a brief description would be Great Value Bonnie and Clyde.
Great Value Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
No, honey, we're not going to get Bonnie and Clyde. We have Bonnie and Clyde at home.
We have Bonnie and Clyde at home, yeah.
That's right, because Alison and Benny are just a couple of Bonnie and Clyders, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's good.
They
I
are.
like that.
They really are.
So before we really do dive into this episode, what are your general thoughts? Without giving too much away, your general thoughts of the episode.
I was a little worried at first because you had watched the episode before I did. And you said you were, you give me your thoughts. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. Let's see what it is. And I think I'm lining up with you now after seeing it. It's one of those episodes that we had before where the intro and outro feels stronger than the episode. So I'm gonna leave it at that until we
not the biggest fan of this episode. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think the tone is good. I like the noirness of it. The dialogue is pretty good. But the plot it's a little lackluster. I wasn't the biggest fan of this episode, and then having to rewatch it, it didn't make it any better. But you know what? I don't think it made it any worse though. Watching it again, so there's that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the dialogue is actually one of its stronger points in this episode because it was fun hearing them just talk back and forth with all the characters. So.
Yeah. All right. So the Crypt Keeper intro. This is it's very noir setting. He's even got that 1920s noir accent going on. He says, "It was another one of those hot LA days. Things were about to get interesting when she walked in. Her name was Samantha, and she was beautiful. A regular corpus delicti with a great chest. Cavity, that is. Something in her socket said beware. Must have been the way she said hello to me. So, sweetheart, you say your husband's been cheating on you with another ghoul? That it? Well, I'll be glad to hear your story. But first, I've got a tawdry tale of my own to tell you. It's about a couple of scam artists who want to make a killing, providing they don't kill each other first. I call it Seance." Kind of a longer intro, though. I didn't realize how long that was until I was reading it. While he was hamming it up with this accent, by the way, he sounded just like Joe Pesci. And I know Joe Pesci's coming up in an episode soon, so I thought this one was it. I thought this was the Joe Pesci episode, but it's not.
It's not.
No, Joe Pesci's not in this. Either is John Lovitz.
John Lovitz.
So right away we're getting the noir vibe. Any thoughts on this opening with the Crypt Keeper?
I love his costume. His 1920s private investigator outfit, with I think it was yellow and he had the tilted fedora, it was just fun. Just really I was enamored by it,
That's right. I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot I mentioned his attire. It was very 1920s noir. Yeah. Even him being behind that door. I think, was he smoking a cigarette? It was very smoky in the room, I think. It was very noir.
If he wasn't, it would be fitting if he was.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the opening panel is, I think, very relevant to the episode. It's a man falling down an elevator shaft with money flying all over the place, and then a woman watching from behind him. Ooh, so that actually gives away quite a bit of the episode. Although watching this, you do get the impression that she is maybe pushed him down, right? You kind of get that impression. That, of course, is not the case. It's kind of an accident what happens to him, but yeah. Well, I like that. I didn't notice, but I like that little yellow and red swirling on his tie. I do like that. It goes together with her red and yellow where she's standing.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that does kind of tie it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I do like the panel, and I kind of wish during the episode the money was flowing out like this too. I think it'd be really cool. But, the colors are great. It's very simple, this one. Usually we have those panels that really pop. But this one is, pretty straightforward. There's really nothing crazy going on.
There was that moment in the episode where the elevator comes back up after having smashed him. It would be nice to have some of that blood and guts somewhere
money?
In the panel.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Well, scene 1, we open with the seance. So this is one of those episodes where we start at the end and then we go back. But before we know that, we open up on the seance. There's this gypsy woman. She's doing some sort of a ritual. All kinds of candles are lit. It's very dark. It's a stormy, lightning-y night out. Very, very cliche, voodoo-esque, gypsy-esque seance going on here. And she's basically calling up the spirits, and out walks a hooded figure, right? A hooded spirit. And it walks up, and then it just stands there. It doesn't say anything. The spirit forgot its lines, and that pisses the gypsy off. She basically starts yelling at him, saying, "You have one line. Give the money to my friends." And this is her partner. He takes the thing off. He goes, "Oh, basically, I forgot the line, basically, or I got nervous, or what have you." He flubbed the lines, and that kind of pissed her off. So they're up to something. They're definitely using this whole seance experience to try to manipulate a situation is clearly what's going on here. And that's about when they get a knock at the door. Someone is arriving. So she hurries him into, I think it's like an armoire or something like that, or a closet, something. He hides behind it, and she goes and answers the door, and then we get a flashback. So what do you think of this opening?
It reminded me a lot of which episode was it? I think it was a season 2 episode with the whole gypsy as well, where I think it was Only Sin Deep, where she kept coming back, and I thought it was gonna be one of those where the I don't want to keep calling them gypsies. I feel like that's not really what their title is, but and anywho, yeah, that individual would always I thought it'd be a main character realistically. I thought because it's Seance, so I thought it pertained to them at some point, but it ended up being the 2 other characters who were introduced later. So I was kind of let down because I was kind of hoping for more of that voodoo stuff because on the title alone, but oh well.
I think you're thinking of Dead Right with Demi Moore. Remember, she goes to the gypsy woman who's like a fortune teller.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You remember? And she kept saying, "You're gonna marry a man. He's gonna someone he loves is gonna get a lot of money and then die." Remember that?
That's what it was.
I think that's what you're talking.
I got the titles mixed up.
I definitely got those vibes too from that gypsy lady.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the flashback. We go back a week, and this is where we basically, the 2 people pretending to do that seance were these characters, Alison and Benny. They're in their office, and they're kind of getting ready to initiate this scam. So that's where we get introduced to Presco Chalmers, Mr. Chalmers. This guy walks in, and they introduce themselves as Alison is basically Mrs. Peters. She's Mrs. Peters, and Benny is playing the lawyer. So the scam is this: they bring Mr. Chalmers in and say, "Look, your uncle, I forget his name, Mr. Peters, whatever, right? Your uncle didn't die when you were a kid because he thought his uncle died when he was a kid. Your uncle actually faked his death and skipped town because he robbed a bank. He robbed a bank back in like 1900 or something like that. Put all the money, I think $200,000 into a bank account, and then went and lived his life like normal in somewhere else. Then eventually he died, and that $200,000 has turned into about $3 million today. But they can't take the money out because it'll look too suspicious, because the deposit of $200,000 coincides with $200,000 being robbed from the bank just, days before. So there would definitely be some red flags if they pulled the money out. But this particular lawyer is willing to turn a blind eye to all of that and just give him the money for just 10%. So basically $300,000, they will get about $3 million. That's the scheme. That's the whole thing. Mr. Chalmers doesn't buy it. He says, I don't believe it. But that's where Alison comes in. Alison does a pretty good job at hamming it up as Mr. Peters' daughter, because she says basically, "Oh, I don't believe it either," But I got to tell you, it does answer some questions about Daddy. I like this because she doesn't deflect away from the fact that, because Mr. Chalmers just discovered, oh, my uncle never died. Like, that's weird to him. But from her perspective, it's, oh yeah, the money situation is kind of weird. But I got to tell you about Daddy. He, that explains a lot about him. And though I think the way she spun it, the way she ran with it, but kept the heart of the whole, Mr. Peters was alive this whole time. Like, she ran with that. I don't know. I am not making myself clear, I don't think. At this point, I think it's a good idea to say, Godden, what do you think?
Yeah, there's not really much to say about this episode. This scene, Kenny, because I think it's just like the slow build up to how they get the scam out. Mm-hmm. But I do enjoy how Alison does end up tying in the story that it is her father that passed away way later down the line. Because she could have said like, oh no, he faked his death back then. He could have been like something like obvious or something just dumb that might have given away. But the fact that she just says, that does explain a few things. He kind of did claim he was a World War I hero. Like maybe he wouldn't put past him that he did rob a bank. Maybe that is upside of him that no one would have known.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know why they thought it would work out in this way, because the dude's old, Prescott. I mean, he's like what, in his 50s. I feel like he would have known the truth about how his uncle had passed, right? Like I don't know if they did enough research about that whole family to like guarantee their story would have, been okay. I wish there was more as to why they want to scam this particular individual. I feel like I wanted to like have more of a backstory, but maybe it was just the moment of like, oh yeah, let's just find the richest guy and then let's just try and scam him this way.
Yeah, so I don't know. And
it's really risky, yeah.
Yeah, and Mr. Chalmers is older, so his mother's probably not around anymore to corroborate the story. Maybe he only heard his uncle died when he was a kid, and that's really all he heard about it. So maybe he is inclined to believe it. And if you throw $3 million in the mix, maybe you're willing to kind of go along with it. I don't know. But I agree with you. They should have had a little more of a backstory with Mr. Chalmers. And I think it is Prescott. But I think they were calling him Presco. Maybe it's because in French it would be Presco, right? I don't know. I kept hearing Presco, so I just put Presco, but it could be Prescott. Anyway, I think we've gone too far. But see, that's the thing about this episode is it is. I would have liked more detail in this bits and pieces of it, because it was a little confusing watching it through the first time. I was kind of like, wait, what's the plot here? What's like, because they never flat out say, oh, that's my uncle. He says, oh, that's my mother's brother. And then like, of course that's his uncle. But in my brain, I'm connecting those dots while they're on the next line of dialogue. So I wish he would have just said uncle. The fact that he said it's my mother's brother, that slowed it down for me. I had to think about that sentence for a good 4 or 5 seconds. And by then, the next line of dialogue is already happening. So now I'm already behind the 8 ball. Anyway. So Alison and Mr. Chalmers, Presco, agree to meet at her hotel. So back at the hotel, before Mr. Chalmers arrives, Benny and Alison are together and they're scheming, right? They're doing their scheming stuff. I think the intent is that she seduce him. She seduce Mr. Chalmers because Benny hides in the closet with a camera. So he's intending to hide in the closet and take some pictures of some damning evidence or whatever, some damning incriminating photos or whatever. I don't know. I don't do that kind of stuff, so I don't know what it's called. I don't hide in closets and take pictures of people having sex, okay? But if I did, let me tell you. Anyway, Presco finally arrives and he brings a rose. He brings a rose for his cousin, which is interesting. And when he enters, he actually takes his wedding ring off and puts it down, which I thought was telling of his desires. And when he did come in, it lingered on him for a long time as he was taking his ring off. But while he was taking his ring off, he was also putting his cane down. So I did have a short moment where I thought, oh, he's going to try to take her out. He's going to try to do something to her and maybe try to get all the money for himself or something. I don't know. My mind did go that route for a moment before he started to take his ring off. So that's definitely another route they could have taken this episode, which I think better or worse, I don't know. It could have made it a little bit different though. So they dance together, and while they're dancing, they're talking about this money. They're kind of going back and forth. And Alison, I think, comes to the conclusion that, or she seems to come to the conclusion with Mr. Chalmers that, it's too bad that they don't have the money right now because they can invest it and, do what they want with it. I think at this point, she's kind of like half seducing Presco, but at the same time trying to plant little seeds in his head like, hey, if only we had $300,000 to get this $3 million because, we need that 10%. And she says, I don't have 10%. I don't have 150,000. I don't have my half. So he basically agrees to pay her half as well. So as of right now, right, she's kind of playing the game and basically gets him, Mr. Chalmers, to front all of the money. So they're going to be getting $300,000 out of him. What did you think of this scene?
That was interesting. Like he knows that's his cousin, but he's willing to, I guess, do the deed. Like I don't like why was that so like natural for him to just like be like. Was that just a thing back in the day? It was just first cousins just doing that? Like it's just.
Well, they even have a name for it. They called it kissing cousins in the episode. Yeah, that's true. That's true though, Godden. I'm glad that you brought that up because that is a whole angle of this episode that did kind of irk me watching it. They didn't have to go this route. They didn't have to go the seduction route. They didn't have to go this whole love thing going on. I would have appreciated much more, I guess, more detectiving. You know what I mean? More outsmarting each other. Oh, he's on to us. What can we do to appease his issues? Or, I would have liked that dynamic much more rather than what we got, which was just, oh, we'll just seduce him into it. And then make this whole incestual kind of a subplot going on. Yeah, I didn't appreciate that much either.
It was silly, but I think this is the first sex scene that I could say it was very, very tasteful because it's like a cartoon. It just happens in the background, and you're just like, oh yeah, they're definitely having sex. It's like, yep,
yeah,
get that out of the way.
While it zooms into Benny in the closet, going like
in the closet
with the camera. So, well, that brings us to the next day. They're in the office, and Presco and Alison, they agree to pay. Presco brings in a briefcase filled with cash, and Benny, being the lawyer he is, gets up to get the paperwork. And while he gets the paperwork, he's humming a tune that was, I think this is what happened. He hums a tune that was playing in the hotel the night before when they were dancing, alerting Presco that he was there too. So at that point, Presco realizes, oh, you guys are up to something, and he backs out. And I had to pause right here. I got lost in this. I was already lost a few times in this episode. I'm not going to lie. It was a bit above my bandwidth. But this, I had to go back several times and watch that dance scene. It may be the same song. Okay, I'm not saying it's not the same song. But it's definitely not the same part of the song that plays versus the part of the song that he's humming. Because what he's humming is one tune, and what you hear the night before is a completely another tune. So I don't know, Godden, what do you think?
No, it's funny because like I mentioned before, like you had watched this before me. So for me to have the exact same reaction, you were like, I know, right? Is that weird? Because it is weird, like because it didn't make sense for him to like pretty much sniff out the con like that. Because he was like, oh, you 2-bit scammers, I know who you guys are now. But it's like, but what prompted it? So I had to go back. I was like really digging. I'm like I can't make it out. I agreed with him. Like it has to be the same song. Like there's no other way. Like it doesn't make sense for him just to kind of get suspicious off the tune he's humming and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean it's a fun song, but yeah, it just wasn't the same window when it was showcased to us. So we wouldn't have gotten the clue. Like, oh yeah, that was the song. But
yeah, it's definitely not the same tune. And
yeah,
Alison even makes a point of saying while they're dancing, oh, I love this song. This is my favorite song. So she even says that to him while the song's playing. And then the next day, when Benny's humming it, Presco says, oh, I see that's your favorite song too. Like, so they really highlighted everything about it except for the damn tune that plays. It's not the same tune. I don't think it's the same song. It could be the same song, It probably
It
is
could
the
be,
same
yeah.
song. I doubt they would overlook that part. But they could have played the same, like, pre-chorus or chorus or opening or
Yeah.
whatever, what have you, right? Wherever that melody is, they could have put it in there, you know? Like Hey Jude. Okay, we're going Beatles here. In Hey Jude, the whole ending crescendo is that one melody that repeats over and over and over again. Da 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 da. Hey Jude, right? But that melody doesn't come until the very end. So imagine playing the beginning of that song during the dance scene, and then having him hum that ending tune. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say. Okay, I gotta get my composure back. I don't know why I'm reacting this volatilely with such volatility. Okay, so
Because we're not professionals.
So Presco says, "No, this is a scam. I'm out." And that's where Allison says, "Okay, show him the photos." So they show him the photos of basically him sleeping with Allison the night before, and he is looking at the pictures. He's like, "Oh no, this is terrible." And Allison says, "Yeah, I hope you have a very understanding wife." And he looks at him and he says, "My wife will never see these." And he leaves. And Allison storms after him, and he pushes the button on the elevator. And while he's waiting for the elevator, Allison points a gun at him. And he goes, "You're not going to shoot me." And she doesn't. I don't think she can. I don't think she has it in her. I don't think she's a murderer. She can't do it. Yeah. The elevator opens. He goes to step into it, but the elevator is like, it's not there. It's just an empty elevator shaft. So he walks into it, falls down. You would think to his death, but while he's down there, you can hear him saying, "Oh God, please help me." And I just couldn't not think of that stupid bit from, what is that movie? Austin Powers. Remember where he sends that guy down to be burned? "Somebody help me, please. I'm very badly burned." You remember that?
No, I actually don't.
Oh my
I
gosh.
think I only watched one of the Austin Power films. I don't think that had that scene.
I think it's the first. It could be the second one, but I think it's the first one. He sends the Will Ferrell character down into the dungeon, and you hear him screaming from the bottom. And then they release like the attack dogs or like whatever to go, "Oh, please help me." And anyway, there's that whole scene where that just reminded me of that part. But that's when the elevator actually comes down the shaft and squashes him. And then when it comes back up, you see like his entrails and guts and blood and everything hanging from the bottom of it. So, and I do like, by the way, in the very beginning of the episode, when Mr. Presco first enters the office, you even hear Benny say, "Oh, I'm sorry, our elevator's broken. I'm sorry you had to walk up the stairs. The elevator doesn't work." So I like that comes full circle, that he ends up falling down the elevator shaft. What do you think about the whole elevator scene?
I was a little upset. He just, I kind of get that he was looking at Allie with the gun out, and he takes a step. But I feel like, at that time, you're kind of used to when an elevator's there, maybe. But also, then again, I'm pretty sure that's why our elevators have changed over time, were to prevent that. But I was a little annoyed that he did just fall. I'm like, are you serious? So I was trying to understand, like, what comes next? Like, what was going to be twist? Was that the twist?
Mm-hmm.
I was just like grabbing for answers in there. I'm like, that can't be it, But I did enjoy when you see the dial of the elevator showing which level it's going to be, and it does squish him, because I didn't know what was going to happen next. But when I saw his blood and guts, I was like, oh, that's really neat. Like I like how they did that. It's such a simple death. It is violent, but you don't kind of take it as a violent way. It's more like, oh, it's very slapstick, like, whatever.
It was fun. Okay, so the next scene, they're at the police station, Benny and Allison. And I think they had just got finished answering a bunch of questions from the detective, and that's where Mrs. Chalmers walks in. And Mrs. Chalmers gets their attention because she's actually holding on to that briefcase that's filled with money. So they go over, basically trying to schmooze her to try to get that briefcase from her. And that's where they learn that she's blind. So literally, she'll never see those photos.
She'll never see them, yeah.
Which I don't know, because, I mean, surely someone could look at the photos and then tell her what they are, right? I don't know.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was right. Mr. Chalmers was right. His wife would never see those photos. She's blind. But she also tells them that she intends to fulfill all of her husband's earthly obligations. And that includes what she's going to do with all that money. But first, she has an appointment to go meet with her spiritual advisor, Madame Leona. So she's going to go talk with Madame Leona, and then Madame Leona is going to tell her what to do with all the money. So, of course, that's where the seance comes in. Any thoughts on this police station scene?
I do like how they were kind of like gonna do their escape plan, like, oh, Benny's gonna get a bus and just leave, get as far away as possible, like, what he knows what to do. And I think it's fun because like she kind of comes off as a very seductive character, because even at the hotel scene, Benny's like, oh, you're just doing because you got hot pants, you got the hot pants. And then with her saying, hi officers, whatever it is, maybe she's trying to prime them into like being seductive already, so maybe she gets let loose in that way, because like she's just a very attractive woman. But I love that we find out that she's blind, because it did make me think of that quote, she'll never see these. It's like, holy, like he has a blind wife. And I think the person next to her might just been like her caretaker at the time, because I didn't know who it was. That was a cop, but he wasn't dressed like a cop. Mm-hmm. So I assumed like when she was blind and she received the cane, I'm like, that's kind of fitting that she has a cane now. But yeah, I don't know. The pacing on this episode is not bad, but it's just we don't have a lot to talk about sometimes, because it's packed just enough for it just to get us to the next scene. Mm-hmm. It's all like face value for me, so I like the scene. I like that she's blind for that one comment, honestly.
So at the seance, that's what they were practicing in the very beginning of the episode. They're actually we get a little bit of the background of that whole situation. They basically tie up the real Madame Leona and knock her out to get her out of there, so they can actually impersonate her. But of course, Mrs. Chalmers won't know the difference because she can't see, right? So that's the whole premise. So Alison with remember Benny in the closet. And also Mrs. Chalmers there. And then there's somebody else there too. I think you're right. Mrs. Chalmers is caretaker or something, or confidant or some person, right? Maybe her lawyer even. So at this point, Alison fakes the seance. She does all the voodoo magic words to bring Presco back from the dead, right? And that's where that hooded figure comes out again. And here's the twist, though. Here's the twist. The seance actually worked. Out comes Benny, who just got finished killing no, not Benny. Out comes Mr. Chalmers, who just got finished killing Benny, and he has Benny's head in the briefcase, and he reaches in and reaches through Alison's chest and pulls out her heart, because she's a heartless woman. And that was kind of the finale of the episode. Godden, what do you think?
I think I like the ending of this episode a lot more. There's a lot more to work with here, because when they were kind of scheming to take over the seance portion of the ritual, I like how she was just mimicking and impersonating how she sounded every time she talked to her, and then she like smacked her on the back of her to knock her out. But I did get confused for a moment for the characters' names, because I thought the scam was working, and then they did the swap, and it's Benny who's walking in. And then the caretaker tells Mrs. Chalmers that, I guess Ms. Chalmers now, that, it looks a lot like Mr. Chalmers. I'm like, oh, wait, so not like Benny? So I was like, what's happening, right? I was like, slowly, it's unveiling to me. And then the fact that how he looked with all, like, his ghoulish face, how it's like all smashed and like ripped and skin is showing. I love that he was. I don't know. I like the graphicness, I guess, of like this part of the episode where it shows a beheaded Benny. Oh, I like that, beheaded Benny, in a suitcase. And I don't know how he did that realistically. Like, how did he have time to kill Benny in that moment? And just like that slow and just torturous death that Allie had to go through, with him just plunging right into her chest and grabbing the heart. I did thought it was intestines at first. And I don't know why. I thought he was going to eat it. I thought he was going to do something with it for some reason, which wouldn't make sense, but I just don't know why I had that feeling. But I didn't happen. And yeah, I guess you're right. I guess the seance did work because they were messing with powers that were beyond them, and they don't know what the consequences were. So
I do like the twist. I think it's a good idea to be pretending to do this whole seance thing and then have it actually work and come back to bite you. So that part I did like. I like the twist actually.
Okay.
So let's get the Crypt Keeper outro out of the way before we really dive in. We go back to his office. Again, we have that whole noir accent, that whole Joe Pesci accent. He says, well, maybe Al and Benny will finally get together now. After all, 2 deads are better than 1. As for Sam, it turned out she was right. Her husband was cheating on her with a zombie he met on a business trip out to the ghost instead of the coast. In the end, I decided to let Sam handle things her own way. Go ahead, slay him, Sam, instead of book him, Sam.
Oh, I see. That's so silly.
So yeah, I do like the twist. Now, I'm gonna, like we already touched on, there's a lot this episode did that I didn't think was necessary. I don't like the idea of having that whole seduction element in there. I don't think you need it. I think it muddies the waters. I think a more interesting route would have been, how do they outsmart each other? Right? What exactly was it about the story that made Mr. Chalmers doubt it? And then how did they quell that? How did they kind of, did they do research? Do they really know who he is? Do they know who his mother was? Like was there an in? Like, I would have liked more of that. I would have felt more heisty to me. Instead, it just felt like a real quick seduction scene and then off we go. So I guess that part was a little lazy, because I do like the ending. I do like the whole idea of doing something supernatural, kind of almost as a joke or as trying to get one over on somebody, and then having it actually work. And that reminded me of, have you seen The Gate?
I don't think I've heard of The Gate.
Okay. It's, these kids discover that there's like a gate to hell in their backyard. And the way they discover it is they do all these weird ritualistic things, but they only do it as a joke. Like, they just kind of happen to be just doing things that happen to be opening up this gate to hell. And one of them involves levitating somebody. So they lay this kid down and they all get together and they just pretend to be doing this weird thing. And then suddenly he actually starts to rise up and starts freaking out. And I remember trying that as a kid too. I was like, "Whoa, let's try that. Let me lay down, and then you say these words, and then we'll see if we can levitate." So that kind of made me think of that. Just trying something for fun, but then having it actually work. I can't tell you how many times I've, either I've laid down or somebody else has laid down. We put hands on each other's foreheads and then recite the words from Child's Play to see if we can switch our bodies. Right? Imagine trying something like that for fun and having it actually work.
I'd flip out. I'm like, I can't have that worked. Please put me back. I don't think I can handle that.
Also, Cabin in the Woods. The whole premise of that movie is how the rituals of horror movies and raising the villain, right? Summoning the villain. How all those things happen. They kind of, they're just kind of playing around with stuff in the basement or in the cellar, but it turns out to actually really work, and they actually summon the killer of the movie. So I thought that was kind of neat. So I do like that premise of just pretending and then having it actually happen. Can you think of any other movies that do something like that?
Where they kind of like jokingly do it, but then actually happens. Nothing really comes to mind with that kind of prompt or premise or trope, honestly. I don't think I've delved into that part of the horror movie genres or supernatural genres. But I mean, Dead Right is the closest thing I can give it, with the whole the gypsy with the seance. Like, oh yeah, the fortune teller. That's what we call them. Yeah, like just with them having a fortune teller. So I was trying to think of the whole entire time. I could not come up with something that I have seen.
Yeah. Dead Right did come to mind while I was watching this too. Also, Ghost, because Autumn A. Brown, she can hear ghosts, right? She can hear ghosts talking that nobody else can hear. And she always just kind of pretended like she had the ability and kind of took advantage of people. But then there's one time when she's actually going through this, faking it, and then she actually starts to hear the ghost. So I don't know. It reminded me of that as well. There's also the idea of like conning people, like a long con, right? Like buttering somebody up for a long period of time to finally get a large sum of money from them. And it reminded me of Lost, to be honest with you, because there's quite a few episodes that have some sort of a con or con artist in it. In particular, John Locke, his dad, was getting him in a long con, basically to con him out of his kidney, I think is what it was. And when he finally got the kidney, he basically cut him off and just cut off all of communication with him. What's her face? Kate was involved in some con. Oh no, was it Kate or Sawyer? I think it was Sawyer or somebody was involved in some long cons. And the way they did it in those episodes were so much better than in this episode, because they actually dive into how do they get away with it? What do they say? What do they do to actually manipulate having somebody else believe them? And it usually wasn't just seducing them for a night and then that was that. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. Any other long cons that you can think of or movies that have to do with cons?
Yeah, there's actually one that I recently watched in January, and it's actually one of my favorite movies now. It's The Illusionist with Edward Norton. Have you seen that one?
I haven't yet.
I think it's on Netflix, so you can definitely give it a go. But yeah, this whole thing is that he's a magician, and he, separated from his like childhood, lover at the time. Yeah, they were destined to be together, and then it's like 20 years later that they meet up again. And at this point, I didn't know how the movie was going to take, but basically, when they were younger, they wanted just to escape from old city Vienna with the kingdoms and stuff and just live together. So at one point she dies, and there's this whole thing where Edward Norton's just upset. He's going through the grievances and everything, and he just keeps doing his show. And then at that point, I wasn't even paying attention. I was getting conned, as an audience, because I wasn't paying attention at what was happening, because at the end of the story, when they end up together, they go through all the flashbacks of like what had what piece were in play, and it's actually crazy like how it all worked out for them just to con the Duke of I forgot which country, but the Duke of that country, because they're gonna wed and all that, and pretty much pinned like the murder and blame onto one of like their henchmen. And it was pretty well done, honestly. It also kind of reminds me of The Prestige, like another magician movie, where there was also that long con where he really wanted up his game, and it showcased that he just had like a twin, or like I guess a twin, to duplicate like his tricks. So I've always liked this like kind of idea of like the long con movies, because I don't know how, but I like getting sucked in to the comic. Oh my god, even I fell for it.
Yeah.
Like if they do it too well, I'm like, yeah, I fall for it. So,
and that's part of the allure of those types of that genre, is to see the mental gymnastics done to manipulate someone's thoughts like that. So, to make somebody think, oh, this is my idea. I want to do this. Right. So I never felt that in this episode. So that was kind of that was a bummer thing. So I'm going to jump into ratings at this point. I do like the twist. Some of the dialogue is really good. Yeah, I like the vibe of the episode, the noir of it. But it's just not great. I'm going to give this a 3.1 kissing cousins.
Kissing cousins. I like that. This comes from Vault of Horror, right?
Yeah.
This piece. Every time we get a Vault of Horror, I always assume it's gonna be like gruesome or something gnarly, but this episode's kind of tame.
Yeah,
for
me
that
too.
Genre.
I gotta be honest, I've been a little disappointed with the Vault of Horrors. Let me open up real quick this thing right here. This will tell me what all the episodes come from. All my little notes here. So, Vault of Horror, Seance, and then before that, so okay. Oh, we had a Vault of Horror extravaganza last season. Top Billing, Dead Weight, Reluctant Vampire, and Easel Kill Ya. We had all those episodes were in a row, by the way, and those were all Vault of Horror. Easel Kill Ya was very Vault of Horror-y. That was very horrific.
Yeah.
Reluctant Vampire was a bit slapstick.
No.
Dead Weight was a was that the episode? That was a bad episode.
Dead Weight, that was with Red.
Yeah. and then Top Billing. And Top Billing was not the most graphic, but it had the whole, skull at the end, I guess, was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe the Vault of Horror isn't necessarily my cup of tea. Wait a minute.
Consistent for me.
No, I changed my mind. Genre. All Through the House is Vault of Horror. And so is Collection Completed.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow, 2 of our favorite episodes comes from Vault of Horror. Never mind. I stand corrected.
I think with that being said, I will give it a flat rating of 3 Jesus Christ in a cardigan sweater. Because, it's not... I don't know. I mean... I can go without this episode being in the season. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with not knowing it exists, but I guess we have to have a bad episode or bad batches to compensate for the good ones that will come around. Can't have always good ones, I guess.
Honestly, I do really like the twist. I like the idea of kind of doing something just to kind of manipulate people, but then having it actually work, like the whole voodoo aspect of it. I like that. So that is a strong part of the episode for me, is the ending, and the ending is an important part of the of an episode. So yeah, otherwise, if the ending, if they drop the ball with the ending, maybe it would be like a 2.5 or 2.75. But the ending I thought was pretty strong. So I'm gonna go with a 3.1. All right. Well, hey, that is gonna bring us to Horrorspondence. Let's go, you guys. By the way. We're recording this episode right before our season premiere airs. So in a couple of days, we're going to have dropped 3 episodes, the first 3 episodes. So we're recording this kind of in that lull, having not recorded for a while. So we don't have a lot of comments. We do have a couple, though, and I want to make sure to get to these. So Iron Sabbath comes through, and he writes to us regarding season 3 rankings. So he says... he ranked these like so. Masterpiece. In Masterpiece, he puts Ease Will Kill Ya, Yellow, and Carry On Death. Those are his best episodes. And then all the way down, I skipped everything in the middle, by the way, all the way down to Avoid. So avoid these following episodes: Deadline and Loved to Death. And Loved to Death was actually one of the season premiere. It's so crazy to me that they this season and last season, I haven't been the most thrilled with their season premieres. Oh, and remember last season, for the last season ranking, we also gave honorary 6s. Remember, we gave 1 honorary 6 per season. So Iron Sabbath for season 1, his honorary 6 went to Dig That Cat. In season 2, it went to Dead Right, and in season 3, it went to Ease Will Kill Ya. So great selection there. Thanks, Iron.
Good one, I like that.
And we have a comment from Vlad the Rabbit regarding the episode Yellow. Vlad comes through and says, first time commenting. Vlad, thanks so much for joining us in the comments down below. I love reading the comments, by the way. Oh, and I want to say something too. Let me add this before I read your comment, Vlad. Sorry. I know I do these correspondence. If you enjoy having your comment read on the podcast and just do nothing. But if you comment something and you're kind of a private person and you don't really want it to be put on blast in front of everybody, just put in your comment, please don't read this or whatever. I don't want you to not comment because you're worried that I'm going to put you on blast. So I'll just put it out there. Anyway, so Vlad comes through. Thank you very much for commenting. Vlad says, I've been binge watching all these episodes after subscribing. Love Tales from the Crypt and love the podcast. Your love is felt so strongly here. Thank you so much, Vlad. We absolutely love. You. Yeah, we love all the comments and engagement we've been getting with this channel. It's so much more than I would have ever thought we would get. So thank you so much. Vlad says, I give Yellow 5 out of 5 shoelaces. Look forward to season 4. Well, here we are. Oh, my favorite war movie is Fury. That's right, because I had asked what your favorite war movie was back then on Yellow. Vlad says, P.S. Top Billing is great. I love John Astin hamming it up in that episode. Yeah, John Astin was the director. Remember the director in that episode?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the stagehand, because I really like that one.
So with our correspondence, I want to add this. If you've gotten this far in the episode, I want you to comment down below if you happen to know what the heck is the name of that song that guy's humming, and is that in fact the same song in the scene before? And additionally, hey, you know what? What's your favorite song or artist? Okay, Godden, what's your favorite artist right now?
Right now, this is so funny. Recently I've fallen into like these Russian trap beats. I'm listening to a lot of Russian rappers right now, and I'm having a lot of fun. There's always an accordion. There's always vodka bottles clinking in the songs. It's such a great time, honestly. I have no clue what they're saying, but they're having a good time.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Godden. You got to get me onto that kind of stuff. Oh boy. You know what? I am a huge Metallica fan, and they're in the news a lot right now because they just got a residency at the Vegas Sphere. I keep seeing them in my feed because there's constant it's like a big huge, what am I trying to say? I don't want to say scam or heist or what is it? It's like a big huge deal right now because their ticket sales are getting sold out like instantly and then immediately being sold through third-party vendors for like thousands of dollars. It's like a giant scandal right now.
Scalpers, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, scalpers. I'm not gonna watch them. I would love to go to Vegas to the Sphere and watch Metallica at that residency, but I can't. I don't have the time or energy to put the effort in to get a real ticket, and I'm not going to spend $1,000 to go watch Metallica for the umpteenth time.
That is crazy. I just pulled it up, and their minimum is 1,000.
It's crazy.
It just shoots up from there.
It's crazy. Yeah. The last Metallica concert I went to, I think, was their S&M 2, and I was in the rafters, and I paid a fortune for those tickets.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's insane. Tickets should not be that high, man.
Anyway, all right. So yeah, leave in the comments below your favorite artist, but then also don't forget to add what the heck was that guy humming? Okay, what was the name of that song? So before we go, it's important to us to shine a light back out into the horror community. Creeps of the Crypt, if you haven't got a chance to check them out, they do the same thing we do. Couple of dudes hanging out, talking about Tales from the Crypt. They're a lot of fun to listen to. I like those guys, so go check them out. And if you check them out or anybody else from us, I want you to say that Cryptique sent you. Let them know that you came from our podcast. So I'd love to get a back and forth going with these guys. Haddonfield Radio, I still listen to them. They're currently going through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, which is a series I haven't watched all of. I haven't seen all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I'm actually looking forward to listening to their podcast about those. Return, Revenge, Resurrection. They go through all the horror franchises as well. They're a bunch of good people who do that. And don't forget about the Cryptique podcast. Here you are. My name's Kenny, and I can be found at Too Bad About Kenny. That's with the number 2 as well as TOO Bad About Kenny. I can be found on YouTube and Twitch. I stream video games. I review movies and books. And yeah, if you want more of me for some reason, come through. Godden, how about you?
Well, they can find us at Crypteakers on our Twitter, and they can find me on Twitch, UAPP06. I'm trying to get that painting, not artsy part started, but occasionally I should be just gaming. Most times you'll find me there. And like Kenny, if you want to just chit chat or talk about Tales from the Crypt, I'm more than happy to. Any engagement, I'm always down to have a conversation or dialogue.
Absolutely. We love the community that we're building. I'm discovering really what it means to be part of a horror community like this. So it means a lot to me. Thank you so much, everybody who's been showing your support and being engaged. And if you are a listener and you're not a commenter, we love you too. So keep coming through, keep listening. You don't have to comment to be part of our community. We appreciate you nonetheless. Now, if you want to stay up to date with what we are doing here at the Cryptique Podcast, you want to make sure that you watch Season 4, Episode 5, Beauty Rest. We'll be right back here next week to talk about that. All right, everybody. Until next week, we here at the Cryptique Podcast wish you all sweet nightmares.
Well, How was that for a scream, poison ghoul?